Welcome to Geeks Between Worlds, the crossover podcast where pop culture collides.
What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to do this podcast. We are with Steven Scott Horn. How
Hello.
you doing?
Great.
You doing super great?
Super great.
Like above great. Like here's great, and you're like above it.
Well, what can I say? It's been a good year.
It has it?
It has been a good year.
That's good because we are talking
gaming.
about exactly. We are talking about potential game of the years.
Boom. Halfway.
It's gonna be perfect.
We're halfway there.
It's gonna be great.
We're halfway.
We are almost halfway there,
Yeah.
huh? I mean, in game releases, we are definitely halfway there because we're about to be in a dry spell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we are definitely halfway in the year, and if you don't take into actual months and you take into game releases.
Fortunately, we have a lot to play during that dry spell.
Yeah, we still have a lot of games to play.
Yep.
Do you want to get into some honorable mentions first before we actually get into our real games of the year?
I think that's the correct way to do it.
I think that's the correct way to do it too. All right, so first off, what we've played, Horizon Zero Dawn.
Boom.
New IP for PlayStation.
Gorilla Cambridge themselves. Actually, I don't know if it's Gorilla Cambridge, but it's Gorilla.
Yeah.
It's not Gorilla Cambridge.
No, it's not.
No, it's Gorilla. I have no fucking idea. Anyways, it's their first game that they've made since what's their last series? Killzone.
Yeah.
And it oh man.
Yeah.
I tell you what. I
Whoa.
don't see how you go from a
Whoa.
Killzone game to Horizon.
Yeah, a first-person shooter to the open-world spectacle of Horizon Zero Dawn.
And the spectacle is putting it lightly. This game is fantastic. I of course have beaten it. It took me about 35 hours or so to beat it.
How do you compare this game to The Last of Us? In new, fresh IPs.
Oof, like when it comes down to success, they're both successful. They're both fantastic games. I personally have like just a spot in my heart for Last of Us. Just the story in that game is just so emotional and so great.
It's more of something that breaks down your walls.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
you start to feel for the characters.
Yeah, like 100%. Where this game, it is all about gameplay. Like, sure, the story is still cool. Once you get towards the end, it turns into a really awesome, just sci-fi story that you just didn't expect. You didn't expect him to take that route. But The Last of Us is just completely story-driven, amazing game. But yes, as you're saying, they are both fantastic new IPs that are going to definitely have sequels. Probably better than the originals, most likely.
I'm hoping
because,
so.
Yeah, and granted, Naughty Dog is one of the best game studios there are right now. But I think Guerrilla, this game has put them into that top tier echelon of game developers.
With Horizon having such a massive success, do we see Killzone again?
I don't care. Like, personally, I know there's a lot of people, maybe people even listening to the cast that liked Killzone, that appreciated what it did and would like another one. And there's still maybe a chance, but in my mind, I don't think of Guerrilla as Killzone anymore. Like, this game puts them on the map.
With them shutting down Gorilla Cambridge, it's most likely that they're just going to be focusing on this IP now, you would think. You know what I mean? I feel like you wouldn't want to put yourself in that hole to where you're going to make an IP that is going to keep you second-guessing your release all the time. How good is it going to do? You know, when you know that you can put HZD out too,
exactly,
and it be a total success.
Yeah, like if they were to still have Cambridge open and everything, I would see them maybe picking up the reins and trying to make their own Killzone game. But I'm for just either the PS4 or beyond. But yeah, as for their primary group of developers, they're going to make Horizon now.
Does the gameplay succeed the gameplay of Last of Us?
100%. That's what the game is about. Like, when it comes down to it, the story, the environment, is all there for one purpose, and that is for the gameplay of you fighting these giant dinosaurs.
Not to mention that this game, robotic dinosaurs, which is amazing, just to say that.
Yeah.
And you're like a tribal, like Native American-esque type of character, and that's like the world around you, you know. So all of these characters, you know, they kind of look like this Indian Viking type of middle ground, you know, which leaves it looking great. And speaking of looking great, this game was optimized for 4K PS4 Pro. It's actually the game that they showed the PS4 Pro off of in that terrible press conference that we got a couple years for the Pro. Nobody understood what they were looking at because we were all watching it on a 720 stream, you know.
Exactly. And plus, you know, that wasn't made for the general public. That was definitely made more for developers and more for stockholders and stuff, or people that are really interested in that stuff, in the specs and everything. Which at the time I wouldn't say I was, but now I do own a 4K TV. I do own the Pro, and yeah, let me tell you, this game, you've seen it in action in 4K, and it is just beyond unbelievable.
It really is. And the best part is that even playing it on the 1080 that I mean, this game still looks so good. It's also funny because I'm jumping into this game after playing games that doesn't really have that technical finesse. Graphics wise, I've been playing Zelda, Persona, and then before that even like Persona 4, and then some indies, you know, voice, things like that. So diving into this game now, like, it just looks so nice. Like, even Aloy as a child, you know, the new photo mode that they just put in the game,
which you showed me some of that, and that was spectacular.
I feel like I've never seen a photo mode that's so detailed that you can do so much in, you know. And you said you're not the biggest fan of the photo mode.
I think it's awesome. If I do get in there and I make an awesome picture, I mean, that's cool. But I definitely don't tend to pause the game or get away from the game in order to enter the photo mode. It's more of like an afterthought. Like, once I beat the game, if I'm playing it again, maybe I'll do it. But I definitely don't tend to break the game by pausing it and going into it. But as you were showing it to me, actually just yesterday, a little more expansively, there is a lot you can do in it, and it is pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it kind of started with me with Final Fantasy VII when they re-released it for the PS4, and I kind of wanted to do this like photo journey of me through the game to have all these photos for when Final Fantasy VII the remake came out, so I'd be able to compare a good amount and be able to remember everything really well and look back at all my photos. So while I played through this game, I did it with the 3 times speed. They have the speed increase on the game. So I think for me to get to the last dungeon, which I was definitely a little underpowered because of it, I think I was at around 33 hours. But through that whole time, I was taking photos of everything. Nice. I mean, everything. So that kind of started that photo thing for me. Then we got Final Fantasy 15, which Prompto would automatically take photos for you.
Which I loved that about 15, and I wish
it makes you not think about
it. Exactly. I wish they would incorporate that into other games.
Yeah.
Like, if I was just doing awesome shit in Horizon and they were just like, oh, let's take a photo randomly, I would be much more interested in the photo mode if I wasn't actually taking them myself.
Even if you could just take a photo and then maybe do things to it after the fact, you know what I mean? Because you couldn't really do that with Final. You could add the borders, you know, things like that, which make great PS Vita wallpapers. They do. So that's pretty nice.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip right there. But yeah, now you have Horizon, and like I said, comparatively, this photo mode is just blows everything else out of the water that I've seen. I mean, you can change your view depth. You can change your lighting. You can change. You could take the character out of the picture, which you said was something that you can do in Last of Us, right?
No, it's actually Uncharted 4.
Oh, Uncharted 4.
One that I've seen incorporate that. Yeah.
Yeah, see, yeah, I didn't get to play Uncharted 4. I have the trilogy. I have the trilogy, but with all this, hopefully I'm going to get to it in this game drought. That was just one of those things to where I didn't have the PlayStation 3 at the time. I was a 360 guy.
Same here. And it is definitely kind of daunting once you do get the collection to be like, oh, I got to play through 1 and then 2 and then 3.
What's
and then
nice
4.
though is I hear they're just around like 13 to 17 hours.
Yeah,
the
it
first
depends,
two definitely.
Yeah, especially if you just kind of played them on normal. I played them on hard, and it definitely they are hard games, especially the bosses in most of them. But I mean, when it comes to like Naughty Dog, I mean, they do it right.
Yeah, so okay, let's get to the next game here. I kind of wanted to bring it up. It definitely can't be a game of the year contender.
Yep.
But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, we're playing it on our Switches right now. The reason why I want to put this in here is because I believe that more people are playing this game than ever comparatively to the Wii U release.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm seeing on forums and Facebook groups all over right now of people excited about it and being like, I'm trying to get used to this and that. I guess now that I think about it, I never played 8, and a lot of people skipped 7 too because that was on the 3DS.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like the first big Mario Kart for a lot of people since probably the Wii version.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people played Mario Kart Wii.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of people.
Everybody had it.
You had the steering wheel.
Had the Wii.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody had it.
Exactly.
Your grandmother in the retirement home had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, whether you played it expansively or not, you played a match or two. Like,
yeah,
it just happened.
exactly. And it also had great courses in it too.
Yeah.
I really like some of their courses. I'm actually sad to
a
see
lot come back into this game.
Yeah, and it's nice to be able to have it so clean. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that, but I feel like the menus, how everything's done in 8 Deluxe, it's like super clean. Yeah. Like when you go and you start that first menu, and it's
Mario Kart 8.
What's the resolution?
It's so it's 720 on handheld, which is what it was on the Wii U TV. So that's just amazing right there because it looked amazing on the Wii U. And then when the Switch is docked, it's actually 1080 on TV.
Yeah, exactly. So you start it up, and you got that 720 menu, and it just looks so nice and crisp. And it just brings that level of handheld that, like I said, that's the best thing about the Switch right now is that you're experiencing just like the most
console level
handheld that you ever had, much more even in the Vita. And we're huge believers in the Vita.
Yeah.
But I know that the Vita, at first, it made me questionable on what this thing can do. But as soon as you play Zelda, as soon as you play Mario Kart, I mean, you're just like, wow, there's no way that the Vita could even keep up with anything like this.
Yeah, definitely not. And yeah, that screen is so amazing. I can't wait to see what future Switch titles bring to it.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe edition isn't too different from the original 8. Actually, the startup's the same. The menu's completely the same. All they do is they add all the DLC stuff right into the game without you having to buy them, as well as new characters like Link, Animal Crossing characters, the Splatoon.
Isabelle telling you to pull your weeds?
Yeah, that's all she does.
Where have you been, Mayor? Where have you been?
And then they also added a couple new functions in the game, like you can carry a second item,
which is great,
which is cool. You can't cycle through them like double dash or anything, but and then they also tweaked a lot of different stuff. So like they added another turbo mode for when you're
you have smart steering
drifting.
Off, and then if you have a long enough drift, you'll get the purple turbo, the ultra mini boost.
Yep, that's it, the ultra mini boost, and then other little tweaks here and there. But when it comes down to it, like this is the exact same game I was just playing a couple years ago on the Wii U, but it just feels at home on the Switch.
And on top of that, I have no problems with matchmaking.
Like, I haven't really either. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I haven't done too much of it yet, but
yeah, I feel like I get a match within 5 minutes. I'm playing it. I've had like a couple things have a communication error, but not in match. Okay. I've had it like pre or post match to where it'll cut out, and then I'm like, oh shit, okay, it'll say that we had an error in communications or whatever, and that's about it. So I'm actually really happy because when you first think about it, and you've played so many games, like even just like Battlefield 4 and Master Chief Collection, and Mario Kart 8 gets it right at launch, and I think that's awesome. Yeah, especially when you think that Nintendo is like this small community, And you like even like Gears of War, stuff like that, it has trouble matchmaking, but it's cool to see that the Switch has such a big community already.
Yeah.
And it's free online right now. So we'll see, you know,
until the fall.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared to see what happens, honestly, but you never know. Now, next thing, Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Now, the reason why I feel like this is a Game of the Year contender is its VR aspects.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think it's more than that. Definitely the VR aspect is one of the most interesting part about it, especially since it's a PS VR exclusive, which is just awesome. But I think outside of that, I mean, the game itself really comes back to form with Resident Evil, because I mean, we just had a rocky road since 5 and 6.
Yeah.
I know some people defend both, whereas I definitely. 5 was so just I beat it and I don't remember.
It was all about the co-op play. It was that's really the only thing that it really wanted to do successfully was co-op play.
Yeah, and that's the only thing it like focused on, and it just wasn't memorable. Whereas the fourth one was just fantastic. So this one definitely is different, but at the same thing, it feels similar. The story was interesting. It wasn't where it really could have been, and I think that's why I personally wouldn't give this like Game of the Year or anything. But it was definitely fun, and it was scary, and it was a horror game that I was able to finish.
Horror Game of the Year.
Yeah,
definitely a contender for that. Yeah. Right now we're diving into Outlast 2, and that seems so fucked up. It's crazy.
It seems too fucked up, and the fact that I can't actually fight back makes it so much scarier.
And I think I'm used to that. I'm used to that with playing Outlast 1. Like I said, I think I got about like 75% through it. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like the content, like just what we've played so far, the content of Outlast 2, it's just so much more than Outlast 1. Like Outlast, you're just like stuck in a place trying to run from people, and it doesn't seem very dark and fucked up, as more it's just people trying to kill you and scare you. You know what I mean? Outlast 2, it has to do with like people's religion and like sexual, you know, things and cults, and you know, last night we got lost in the corn maze, and that was one of the most surreal horror game experiences ever, because we were legitimately lost in the corn maze, or, you know, in the cornfield, and that was just a new experience, and I thought they did that really well. I hope there's more cornfield stuff, and that wasn't just like the most of it. You know what I mean? That'll be kind of disappointing, because I got lost in that cornfield, and that was one of the coolest things I've experienced. Like if that would happen in Resident Evil 7 VR, that would be insanity.
Yeah, fuck that.
Like, holy shit.
Fuck that.
Yeah. So up next, Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5. Once again, kind of like your Mario Kart Deluxe, you put this on this list. I kind of want to see what you have to say. Yeah. I've obviously played these games. Yeah. You know,
like it can't win Game of the Year. Yep. Re-releases, they can't. Can't do it. But at the same time, I think this is an honorable mention, because if you haven't played the Kingdom Hearts games, you're a fucking loser. Get the fuck out of here. So fucking, you know, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, they fucking hate you. Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're doing with your life. But these games are fantastic, and this is just the best way to play them, because you have every single game that matters, and then the games that don't matter, you have little backstories for them. And it's all on one disc, and it is fantastic. If you want as well, you can also go with 2.8.
I was just about to bring that up.
Yep, which gives you 2 more games as well as another story. So I mean, it's everything Kingdom Hearts, just getting you ready for Kingdom Hearts 3, which hopefully will be released in this decade.
Yeah. Well, hopefully within the next 5 years. I'm hoping.
I'm hoping at least by 2020. Like, come on.
Yeah, I it being 2017, man, I don't know if it's gonna hit 2020. We'll have to see.
When I think about Final Fantasy 15, I think that it was something we were so excited for, and then finally, once they started releasing more, like, it came out kind of quick, and now it's done and over. So I'm hoping it happens with Kingdom Hearts as well. But at the same time, I want them to take their time for it, because as much as I love Final Fantasy 15, I feel like they could have used a little more polish and a little more time with it here and there. So I don't want to think that for Kingdom Hearts 3. whatsoever. But yeah, if you are a fan of Kingdom Hearts, if you are interested, pick this up. It was only $50 too. Like,
it's a no-brainer,
steal.
especially if you're diving into the series for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think of the 2.8 that it's almost like the newest line of game for it? So we have all of these little, we have Birth by Sleep, we have, Dream Drop Distance. It gives you that little small game to where supposedly it's like the newest in the series. It's going to be, it's the prologue before 3. What did you feel about it? Like,
I actually haven't played it yet.
You haven't played it yet?
Yeah, and I'm doing that on purpose because I have played Dream Drop Distance, which is chronologically is the newest, where you actually get to play as Sora and Riku.
And I've played that too, but I played it on the 3DS.
Yeah,
which it worked out still really well. It was actually a really great mobile experience.
Yeah, it was really fun, especially for being a 3DS game. But so I haven't played O2 Prologue or whatever, or Birth by Sleep 0.2. Where you get to play as Aqua, only because I haven't played Birth by Sleep yet. I'm actually playing through Birth by Sleep now on the 2.5.
And then you're
going to
get back to it.
And then once I beat it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to see this because, supposedly it's really just it ends the way that Kingdom Hearts 3 is supposed to start up. Supposedly, I don't exactly know what that means yet. But I think it is using the same engine, so it'll be really fun to actually play once I get there. But I don't want. I've played every Kingdom Hearts game except for Birth by Sleep. So
what do you think about the environmental additions that they did, to where you can now use the environment for combat, like in Dream Drop Distance? I think that's something that's I think that's going to stick with the series.
I hope so, because it's hard to go back now that I'm going back to Birth by Sleep. And I'm kind of going
like, I wish I could grab this light post.
Exactly. Let me just grab this light post, jump up there. Like, you literally break the game. You can just go start jumping off the walls, completely get into an area that you just couldn't do in the original games. And then they know that you can get up there, so they put a treasure chest up there because they're like, hey,
now you can get here.
You can get up here, so we'll reward you for your exploring. So I do like that. I hope they I don't say tone it down, but I hope they figure it out a little more in 3 to where it doesn't feel so crazy.
I feel like sometimes too, like I would just randomly grab the fucking light pole. I'm like, damn it, I didn't mean to grab the light pole.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think they could fix it up in a couple of ways here and there.
And you can tell Square Enix is testing the waters with how to move your character, mobility of the characters you play. We've seen it in 15, with the warping, and I think that was a big problem with 15, is that they made the game and then they remade it. And I think they remade the game again, and then they had to remake the game again. You know what I mean? It was weird because even the beta, it was such a different like fighting style.
Yeah.
Which playing the beta and playing the finished product, like, I still don't know which one would have been better. Like, I did like having buttons for certain blades at some point, but I don't know. I feel it's so weird because you get back into Final Fantasy 15 and to where I really like the story. I love the characters. One of the best endings of a video game ever. Like, yeah, man, that combat is just hard to get to. Like, it's kind of like that Mario Kart sense, to where you think you're good,
Yeah, exactly.
and you can be great, but then bam, like, you can just be doing bad.
Yeah.
And like, it just happens.
Yeah. No, I've beaten the game. I don't know how many hours I've sunk into it, but I am still, like, I wouldn't even say I'm a master at the combat, like, whatsoever. Like, sometimes I just get wrecked for no apparent reason.
And then sometimes you do cool and you think you did really great stuff, and then, like, in that same combat, then you start getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very weird system, and I think it's going to be something that they perfect, hopefully, with the 7 remake, because I know that it's going to be somewhat similar. And something that I do really like about the 7, though, is that your HUD, and it seems like your command prompts are exactly the same as Kingdom Hearts 3. Like, what we've seen screenshot wise of each one, it looks like they have the same exact HUD, which I think is cool. And at the same time, it also, like, scares me because, like, I don't know, I don't want all of these games to be the same. I want there to be differences, so we'll just have to see how it pans out. But just like 15, I'm sure they're going to remake 7 2 times.
Yeah, most likely. And I mean, who knows when we're going to see that. And you're right, since they are making it more mainstream battle system and stuff, it kind of does get you a little nervous, like, why are they doing it this way? Because if they would have remade 7 and just kept the original battle style, but with beautiful graphics, it would still fucking
well,
sell.
like kind of how we'll get into Persona 5 later, you know. A lot of people say that the only downside to Persona 5 is that just the combat seems repetitive at certain points, you know. I feel like I haven't gotten far enough into that game, and I've played so many turn-based. I feel like that may be something I just may never feel, period. You know what I mean? Just because I've played so much turn-based. So we'll just kind of see how it goes.
I'll have something to say about that a little later.
Now, last game that we've played in honorable mentions, and I also want to do a side note of Snake Pass, but Yooka-Laylee and Snake Pass.
Okay.
I feel like they're those very cute games. They play very much differently. But I feel like, you know, Snake Pass could be in Yooka-Laylee. I feel like it's Trouser Snake.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They are both just the 3D
Old
character
school
platformers.
Yeah,
but fantastic. Yeah, I actually kickstarted Yooka-Laylee a while back. I think it was like 2 years ago. So yeah, finally getting my hands on this game was awesome. I was a huge Banjo-Kazooie fan. At the same time, this year's been full of so many great games. I actually haven't beaten it. I still haven't finished the first world, which is just like an outrage. I should be playing it more, but I do plan on getting back into it, definitely. But yeah, I would say it's an honorable mention because although the platforming is a little at sometimes, and I mean it could use a little bit more polish, since I mean it was kickstarted, but still, like this game just feels like a successor to Banjo.
I really love the gameplay. I really love the world. Really love the character. But yeah, I can see the polish. Honestly,
yeah.
That was one thing, especially when you have it like on your 4K TV and stuff. Like you can just tell, you know, that things are grainy and you know, like rocks or I don't know. It's weird at this day and age that I feel like a rock can be too square. You know what I mean? Things like that, weird things like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's great. And like I was saying with Snake Pass, it just provides you such a new way to play, maneuver your character, and it makes you think differently than you have in a bunch of games. Sure, can that game also be more polished? Yes.
Yeah.
There's no real enemies in the game, which I think is cool. But at the same time, I feel like maybe they could have done something to where, you know, not exactly that you're fighting people, but just something. You know what I mean? Either like maybe saving a person or, you know, things like that.
Yeah. And then of course it's the best way to play Snake Pass on the Switch.
On the Switch, obviously. Well, it's so weird because I feel like I could just play everything on the Switch now. You know what I mean? Like Persona on Switch.
I would play the fuck out of Persona on my Switch.
Like I'm so happy because they have teased Shinigami Sensei series on the Switch. So hopefully that does come to light. Hopefully that does come out. What's going to come of it, though? We don't know yet. If it's even labeled an actual Persona game, who knows, you know? Hopefully we don't. I hear Persona Q is a good game, but I want a legitimate Persona
Yeah, I'd rather
game.
have a legitimate one. At the same time, I was in love with the cast in Persona 4 that if I had access to Persona 4 Q, I would play it. Just like how I kind of want to play Persona 4 Dancing All Night.
Just because you are so connected to those characters. And you also mentioned that you would also replay Persona 4 Golden on Switch.
Yeah, especially on Switch. If only I can import my save file.
Right.
Because then that would be perfect.
Then you could play your New Game Plus.
Yeah, and that's what I plan on doing.
That'd be amazing.
Which I still probably will do one day before I die.
Yeah.
One day.
One day after you beat Persona 5. Yeah,
we'll get into that later.
Yeah. You're getting close. You're scary close. You're hoping you're not close.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling.
Exactly. Okay, so now honorable mentions that we haven't played. For Honor, people are all about that game.
Yeah, big game by Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft brought it out.
Yep.
It's a game that is staying in the media too for as long as it's been out and stuff like that. For things like that, like it is still coming out. It's still pumping out content, and people are still playing it competitively, which I think is a pretty cool thing, honestly. Especially because when you saw For Honor, you didn't think of competitive gaming like in any way. Yeah. You know what I mean? At least I didn't.
Well, I mean, with Ubisoft, for the most part, I don't think of competitive gaming. I know a lot of people would, be mad about that because they have like Tom Clancy's and stuff like that, but it's just like
yeah, exactly. I don't really think of it that way either.
Same.
We have Neo. You said this game wasn't for you. you played so much Dark Souls.
Yeah, which
exactly.
is weird. I'm sure if I played the final product, I'd like it. I played the demo. Decided I just don't know if I want to do
well,
this.
with all
It
these
made me
games that
wanna
we've
go back
already
to
mentioned.
Dark Souls, exactly.
Yeah.
But I do love Dark Souls games, and I'm interested in how this game will play. Maybe I'll play it one day.
Yeah.
Especially, it'll be interesting to hear other people defend this game for their
Game of the year.
Game of the year.
Yeah,
So.
which, I mean, it's a new IP, just like the Horizon. I just feel like Horizon has that more welcoming atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's a game that you can easily jump into, no matter what your play styles are, no matter what you like. You know, I mean, with Neo, I feel like I would really like that. I kind of took to Bloodborne. I just didn't like the fact that I needed to call upon people to beat bosses, which made me drop out of the game. Which you said that's something that's like kind of like
It's something I really like about it, and I think it's really cool. At the same time, I am not good with bosses, so a lot of people just fucking beat the boss by themselves.
Yeah, see, and I couldn't do that. Like,
It's
I
hard,
feel
yeah.
it was I got so close too, but I mean, I don't know how many times I would just not play Bloodborne because I just tried 50 times to defeat the boss and I couldn't do it, and I refused to call people.
I would always try a boss my first try. Unless, and if I was close, maybe I'd try him again by myself. With Dark Souls games, at least. Same with Bloodborne. But I wasn't like ashamed to get friends in, just because it was just always fun to just call someone else in, and then they know what they're doing, and then you go in there, and sometimes you still don't win. You know?
See, and that's even crazier.
Yeah. So but yeah, I love Bloodborne games. And Dark Souls games. I'm interested to see what they do next, and I am interested in maybe playing this at some point.
Yeah, see, I feel like I'm really interested in playing Neo. We're about to talk about Nier Automata. These two games are really one of the games I'll be getting this year. I know I'll be getting one of these games this year, absolutely, with Neo and Nier. And I really like the Eastern vibe of Neo, though. Like, I think that's very cool. I think the world, what I've seen of it, I think it's something very, very cool that I would really, really like.
Yeah.
So that's something. But when you have Nier Automata, out right now, and it's a platinum game, I really like Legend of Korra, which is also a platinum game. It was a very simple game. There wasn't a lot of detail to it like there is in Nier. But, I mean, man, I remember playing that game, playing the bosses, doing it over and over again until I got, like, I felt like my fingers needed to train. And that's that platinum game type of vibe, So, and everybody says such high things about Nier. I can see me definitely playing either of these games very recently. You could probably see yourself playing Nier first before Neo, obviously.
Yeah, definitely out of the two, I think I would want to try Nier just because I don't know what the fuck that game's about.
Exactly.
I've seen so much weird shit on it, and it just sounds interesting. Yeah, especially since, we are about to go through this summer drought. So once I beat Persona, then... and I'm looking for another game, I feel like that'll be the game I try. I'll probably wait for some sort of a discount or something, though.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I'll probably wait on the discount for either of these, you know. And now you wrote this. I think this is beautiful. Games that we haven't played, honorable mentions. You wrote Mass Effect, and then you wrote Not right next to it. And it's so funny because this is that case of the game that we wanted to be so great. We wanted it to be so great. And this still is a game that I'll probably pick up.
Same.
It'll be a bargain bin pickup though, I feel like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll buy it cheap, and I'm also waiting until they update it, which they are doing right now. So I don't know if they can, upgrade it to the point where it's, a perfect game or anything, but
they're working on it.
They're working on it. But yeah, when it comes to like the combat of it, I've heard it's fantastic. It looks amazing. It's just like I heard the story, the facial animations, like all of the that part's so bad, and it's so glitchy and buggy that I'm glad I did not pick it up day one, which I was expecting to. I think it was up till like less than a week beforehand when I finally realized, whoa, I am not getting this game after playing games like Zelda. Persona was about to come out, Resident Evil, and all this.
And this changed your mind, and you're a huge Mass Effect fan.
I've played all of them. I've beaten all of them, and I liked them. A lot of
I
people.
really loved Mass Effect 2.
Mass
I mean,
Effect
I
2
want to
was
say that it
fantastic.
might be like
That's
top
the
10
best.
games I've ever played. Like,
Story-wise,
I love that game.
Story-wise, that was the best. I loved all the combat and stuff in 3 and what they did with it. A lot of people hated the ending. I didn't care. It was weird and it was odd, but at the same time, like, I don't think anyone should have expected it to end in such a crazy way. I mean, every time we got to bring our character from the first game to the second game to the third game, it was always underwhelming, and people were still like always mad about it. So I had my expectations in check.
Yeah. See, and that's understandable. One thing I'll say for the new Mass Effect Andromeda, combat looks awesome.
It looks ridiculous.
It looks awome,
especially since
to where
it's pro enhanced.
Yeah, I've seen some glitches in the combat, but like it looks so good. Like the combat looks like where it's at. I feel like if you're picking up Mass Effect Andromeda, you're a fan, and B, you want to dive into that combat system.
Exactly,
which will probably make the game worth it once it's fixed.
Yeah, which people love, and then you go to talk to someone, and it's just like, we have to save humanity.
Yeah, and then they're like looking around. They got like big lips that like aren't proportionate with their face.
Yeah. Which is funny because it looks like they use the exact same engine in the facial animations from the first game or something, but the first game facial animations almost looked better than this one. So
which brings us to our next topic, Steven. 2007. 2007 is when Mass Effect was released.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go over a decade in games right now. A decade ago, we may have had the best year in gaming ever.
2007. We didn't realize it at the time, but that was probably the best year.
This whole segment was your idea.
Yeah.
I'm giving you 110% credit. This is a great segment.
Mm-hmm.
First off on your list of 2000 games that came out in 2007, BioShock.
Yep.
Another greatest game ever. You know what I mean?
Brand new IP.
From gameplay to atmosphere,
twist
to systems. I mean everything. Vigors was the first thing that like it was like a horror, a shooter.
It was
and
plasmids in BioShock.
Oh yeah. Vigors is BioShock Infinite.
Yep.
Yeah. So and it was so. I mean, the story was so good.
It was.
You know, you had a great twist. You had that dark vibe everywhere you went to where.
Scary.
Yeah, exactly. You got. I still remember when you get your shotgun. When you get your shotgun in that game, it's literally in the middle of the room, and then once you go up to the shotgun, the spotlight's on you, and the whole rest of the room is black around you, and the splicers jump out at you. And that's when I knew it was early in the game, and I was like, wow, this game is something else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So next off, a game that I poured my heart out into. I know a lot of people that poured their heart out into this game. Halo fucking 3.
I
my
think,
personal favorite Halo.
Same here. I think I couldn't even count the amount of hours I put into Halo 3. And this one and the next game on my list is what put me into competitive shooters. And I got big into competitive shooters in high school.
I mean, these games, I mean, they really did it. The other game that we're talking about, obviously, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
Yeah. Same year, around the same time. I think only like a couple months from each other. And
I love playing Modern Warfare, the remastered version. It is great.
Good. It is good.
I love it.
Yeah.
And supposedly we're going to be getting a standalone release now.
It's about fucking.
It's speculated. It's not confirmed, but I'm going to buy it. Like that is going to be.
I have it.
You have it.
Yeah,
you have
get
it. Yeah.
I will put more time into it. But yeah, I got to the very last, the 10th prestige on Call of Duty 4, which I haven't done with another Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Halo, we did ranked and we did all this shit. And
the best part about Halo 3 was the ranking system. It was unforgiving. You had to be good.
Yeah.
You want to be, even when you're in the 40s, you have to be good, or else your number's just going to drop,
Yeah.
you know? You knew those friends that were 50s and 49s, you know, and doubles and things like that, and you're like, wow, man, it took so much to do. I mean, I seen one of my friends, he was 49, and he won 11 matches in a row. Still didn't get to 50.
Jeez.
Still didn't get to 50. That is an unforgiving rank system. You have to be good to be. We ain't just handing out 50s like games do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and that was the thing too. Is it was so good they had to change it because people were so upset that they couldn't get that good. You know what I mean? That's funny when you think about it now. All Halos were different after that just because it was so unforgiving. It was like a Super Nintendo game. Like that's like the basis of what that game was. You know what I mean? You couldn't just play Battletoads and beat it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't even remember what. I think my best was either Team Slayer or doubles. We got pretty high in at one point. But yeah, again, ranking system, just the games themselves, like, and they
The
both
balance.
had awesome freaking single players. But I mean, that's not what you played these games.
Yeah,
you played
yeah,
these games
yeah.
for that fucking multiplayer.
I mean,
competitive-
doing legendary through the Halo 3 story was also extremely fun too.
Yeah.
Though that was something that you would sit down and do over and over again.
Yeah.
Now we have other games. Portal, fantastic.
Yep.
We'll never see a Portal 3 because they don't know how to go to the 3.
They don't.
Mario Galaxy. Another huge game for Nintendo. Ended up being one of their Nintendo greatest hits. Things like that. And I think that was nice because it stepped Mario in the right direction. You know what I mean? Maybe it didn't do it perfectly, but like it kind of opened it to kind of that open world sense to where you can kind of do what you want. And I think Mario's better because of Mario Galaxy. Rock Band was huge at the time. I remember the first time me playing that in Walmart, and I was like, this is dope. Ask for it for Christmas. You know what I mean? It was like, and then a game that's was just as good as like the Call of Duty, the BioShock, and that had a long life in the video gaming industry. Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Assassin's
The
Creed.
very first.
Yeah, exactly. And you had like the wall running and climbing mechanics in a game, and you had the stealth, and you had the stealth kills, and it kind of taught you at first like how to walk, with like a sleight of hand through crowds. It showed you like people carrying pots, on their head, and that's also another game that had a really great story that kept you invested.
Yeah. It was interesting because you're actually in the future,
Yep.
going into an animus, which puts you back in time playing as one of your ancestors, and especially when you got to the ending, it's a 10-year-old game, so I don't feel bad, but when you get to the ending, when you're able to use your eagle sense in the present day, and you see all these weird hieroglyphs on the walls and shit, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on
and
with this game
it gives you
series?
really big hints
Yep.
to what's to come.
Yep.
And it even deals with like the apple of Eden, which
all
was like
that
the
crazy
main
stuff.
purpose of the game, creating miracles. And man, it just had me intrigued, and it still has a long life. We're actually having some leaks maybe of what the next game might be. Assassin's Creed
Egypt.
Origins, things like that. So hype.
Can't wait.
And speaking of Rock Band earlier, we got the greatest Guitar Hero probably, Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. I mean, that was amazing. I spent hours into that game. You fought Satan at the end, and I mean, it was fantastic. You had Slash in the game. You had some of the best songs. You had Metallica 1 in there.
I think I beat Raining Blood like maybe twice.
Yeah, Raining Blood was in there,
Yeah, some just amazing fucking titles. The Cliffs of Dover song, like some songs that that was the reason I played Guitar Hero, was for Guitar Hero 3.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
fantastic.
And Guitar Hero 3 also just like opened the world up to like a bunch of music too. Like it was top selling because of Guitar Hero. I mean, that sold music. Which was really cool. Next we have God of War 2, maybe the best God of War in the series, which we're waiting for God of War 4 to come out. We've seen minor stuff on it.
Might come out this year.
Year. I don't know. We'll have to see E3.
Yeah.
I feel like it has to make an E3 presence.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Maybe not. Half-Life 2 now. I mean, whoa.
No.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I seen a video recently of like an 11-year-old beating Half-Life 2, and then he turns around to his dad and goes, "Oh my God, I can't wait to figure out what happens." And the dad goes, "They never make 3." And the kid just looks at him and just starts crying. Yeah, he's so sad, so sad. Yeah. And now we have a game that I kind of want to dive into a little bit more, just like we did with Halo and Call of Duty. Skate. This game came out, and I mean, before that we were playing Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like it turned into that like make-believe skating game to where you can do a bunch of crazy shit, wear like panda suits and skate and do all this weird shit.
Yeah.
You had the thug
grinding
series,
and,
the thug. Let's be thugs and skate around. Yeah. I mean, it was good, and it's cool because it really incorporated that story. It wasn't just like goal-based and mission, like to do these things on every single course. It had a nice story of you like getting to your hype and skating and then fighting your friend, in the competition at the end. But Skate came along, and it introduced your joystick physics on how to control your board.
Yeah, much more realistic.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
doing
exactly.
On these crazy grinding
Yeah,
on
just
top
grinding
of,
forever
just
and doing
on
all
top
this
of
stuff.
buildings and doing all this stuff. It's like, no, this was like you're in a city. You can put up a skate point right here. Where
Yeah,
you're gonna skate
I was
the
just about to
exact
say
same
skate
little
point.
thing. Yeah.
You can
Fantastic
skate the same skate point for like 30 minutes with your friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just doing the same thing. And it kind of had like that, I want to say Grand Theft Auto vibe, to where like you would just do like a crazy thing and maybe you would go off a big jump and then your body would just like ragdoll like it does in GTA, GTA 5, and it just felt so good. Even though the world wasn't very big, you kind of felt like it was, just because of how in depth you controlled your player.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then the series definitely kind of...
It took a turn for the worse.
It took a weird turn, yeah. 2 was, I think, pretty good. 3 it just seemed like it did a bunch of weird stuff.
Yep.
So...
Every year, I feel like we have a speculation of the next skate game. Will it ever happen? Probably not.
Probably not.
If you would ask me, I feel like just skateboarding just isn't where it was also at the time. You know what I mean? I mean, most your Zoomies are just clothes shops now, guys.
Exactly.
I feel like I've never been in a Zoomies in the past 5 years and seen someone buy skateboards, bearings, wheels, trucks, anything like that.
Yeah, we're more likely to have a fidget spinner video game coming out.
I mean, this day and age we fucking live in, you nailed that. You nailed that. We brought up Mass Effect, and then the game that we hope to see return on the Switch, Metroid Prime 3.
Yep.
I mean, wow, what a great
Last
game.
Metroid Prime game. The Metroid series. We are waiting for it. Like, sure, it never like really sold the numbers that I think Nintendo wants, which I think is why we just haven't seen it yet. But I just have no doubt that they're going to still make one. I think there's rumors that maybe Retro's working on one right now.
Yeah.
I think there's another rumor that that there might actually be 2 Metroid games like in the works. One maybe even being like
and not like
2D
Metroid Prime
platformer.
Federation,
Oh my
or
gosh.
Hunters,
We don't
things like
speak
that.
of that. Well, Hunters wasn't too bad.
Hunters wasn't too bad, but
yeah. If
it was
if
acceptable.
They did like a Hunters 2 or something, I'd play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have the Switch now. It's a great console. Like, it's not like you're gonna be releasing this on the Wii U, some dead just piece of crap.
Yeah.
So I mean, let's see it. Let's do it. Come on, Nintendo. I know we're not gonna see it at E3, but it'd be nice. It'd be really nice.
Do we see Pikmin or do we see Metroid on Switch first?
We probably see Pikmin first, honestly, because
I think so, too.
I think there was even rumors that they were working on another Pikmin, which at the time was to still be released on Wii U, but then that didn't happen. So I think we're most likely to see that. But yeah, out of all like the big games, I want Nintendo games I want to see on Switch. Yeah, it's Pikmin, it's Metroid Prime, it's Animal Crossing, it's Pokemon. Give them to me.
Give it to him. Okay.
X gonna give it to you.
All right. So now let's get into our game of the years.
Why don't you start?
Okay. Mine, Zelda Breath of the Wild, to where it's not perfect.
Boom, boom,
The gameplay is something I've never experienced. The world is something I've never experienced.
The freedom.
The feeling of absolute limitless bounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just going out and doing whatever. Zelda is such an amazing game. It changed the way I thought of when I camped last week. I went camping last week in an actual forest, deep in the forest, not just like some like campsite to where a bunch of people are around you. No, we were deep out in the forest, and it made me think of Zelda. It made me think of Link climbing everything, and it also made me realize how out of shape I was. If this motherfucker could climb like this, I mean, I barely got up some small boulders, and it was just so cool to think about. Like, we were cooking on the fire camping. It made me think of Zelda, how you can cook everything, how the management systems work, how shrines work. There's 120 shrines in the game, and
I got like maybe 60 or 70.
Yeah, I'm like 58 right now, and then you have Korok seeds, which 900. I have like 60 of those as well, which is weird.
That's more than I have.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then another thing is just the backstory of Zelda, which is really the story of Zelda Breath of the Wild, is the backstory.
Yeah.
The way you find it out, how we can all find it out differently, and we still get the same conclusion,
Or not. or you don't finish all of the
memories,
beasts,
and
you don't get
know.
all of the memories. You go and you fight the boss with only some of what you got, and you can do that.
You can do that, and it lets you do that.
Does.
You can go fight Ganon right away if you really want to. 3 hearts and tree branch.
If you're fucking awesome enough, you can.
Yeah, exactly, and it's so cool because you play that game, and then you play other games, and you just realize how limited other games are.
When I got back into Horizon, which is a testament for Horizon, because it's hard for me to get back into a game when I take, like a month or 2 off. But yeah, getting back into Horizon after Zelda, I'd realized how limited my maneuverability and everything was. Granted, it's Horizon's still an amazing game, but still, like, not being able to, like, jump up a little tiny boulder or something like that was just, like, frustrating.
Yeah, you're like, why can't I jump up this boulder?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing is the big one-shotting type of beast that you find. At the beginning of the game, Boblins are one-shot type of thing. They can hit you, bam, and you're dead, at the beginning of the game. And then you start to see Lionels, and these big creatures. And I love when you're fighting a big creature, the camera pans out, and you just see yourself, and you're so small compared to these huge creatures, and you're fighting them, and you're taking them down, and you're doing all these great things like deflecting them with your shield, or backflipping over their sword attacks, doing all this stuff, jumping off your horse and it going into slow-mo, and you pulling out an arrow, and bam, in the sweet spot. And it gives you such a sense of accomplishment when you defeat these big creatures or find that next rare treasure, when you go through the maze, the labyrinth in the corner of the game, and that kind of got me frustrated. I was kind of doing that for a while. I probably worked on that for like 30 minutes, and I was like, fuck, I keep ending up in the same spot. This is a real labyrinth, The game makes you feel so rewarded, but this is where I get into my butts, okay?
Oh, here it goes.
This is game of the year for me. This is maybe gameplay of life for me. I feel like I haven't had a game that has had me so invested, and I've had so much fun just exploring the world. In that sense, I feel like there's a game that's never done it, okay? They reward me so well through this whole experience. All this small stuff, finding the shield, doing these things, fighting Lionels, killing them, Yeah. And then you reach the end of the game, and I don't want to bring this down for people. I don't want to knock Zelda in any way, but it's a letdown. Like, the ending of the game, to me, was a letdown. I had to try to convince myself. You saw the text. You saw me talking to you about it.
Yeah.
You can see I was trying to convince myself that the ending was better than what it was. And after I had time to elaborate on it, I realized how, like you said, anticlimactic it is. And it's sad to say, because, like I said, it rewards you so well through the whole game of doing little stuff. That ending is just a buster. You know what I mean? Like, to where I do like the boss fight is kind of split into 2 different boss fights, and he takes Ganon takes a second form. Try not to spoil too much. I love the second form. I'm so glad they paid homage to that form. At the same time, I just played a Darksiders 2 boss battle, and it was that same exact boss fight, but better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what is Darksiders 2? You know what I mean? Like, we just got Darksiders 3 announced. It's a big thing. People are really excited. The fluid of the character actually looks really great. I'm super excited for Darksiders 3. But at the same time, like, there shouldn't be a comparison, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, it's great to see a game hold up in aspects like that, even though Darksiders 2 obviously isn't that game at all in any way, and it doesn't hold up comparatively when you look at it in a big retrospect. But, I mean, like, Zelda should do that boss fight better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to where I really love the characters. Zelda is the best Zelda we've ever had.
Minus her voice acting.
You don't like her voice
I don't
acting?
like her voice acting.
I actually really like her voice acting. And I switched it over to Japanese voice acting, and I watched all the memories through it, and I actually hated it.
I haven't done that. But then again, you can't really say much because, I mean, this is the first voice acting, so I have nothing, to compare it to.
Yeah.
I just thought at times it was a little odd, a little wonky at times, but So if you were to have your own way with this ending, how would you have done it?
I'd have Link die again. I'd have Link almost die again, and then Zelda come out and use her sealing of the darkness power. I would have definitely paid a homage to everything you did and bring it to that brink again, because like I said, the game has no story really.
Yeah.
The game is you finding the story, learning the old story, and really you're just on the mission to calm these beasts.
Yeah, to get your memory back, to find out what exactly did happen. And yeah, as you're saying with these like the other Zelda games, generally the last boss fight is something. It is a spectacle. You are facing someone that you really hate and you want to defeat. And in this
ending of Skyward Sword, the ending of Wind Waker, fantastic endings, and you reach this ending, and it really is like you're just waiting for something big and cool to happen, and it just kind of doesn't. But like I said, I would definitely have you defeat the boss, but then something happened. Maybe you see him in his Gerudo form, and then him like one shot you, bam, and then like you're on the ground again. Him like hovering over you. This is end times. He turns back into like the big calamity dragon that you see. I was actually sad that I didn't fight that, because it looked great, and I was really expecting that. I actually hated the Blight version of Ganon. I didn't really like the Blight version of anybody, really. You know what I mean? Like, I thought, like thinking about it now, like when I was playing the Blights, I was used to it. But then when I realized that Ganon was going to look like the Blights, which I don't know why I didn't think he would, I guess I just didn't expect it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, he was a bald Ganon with a big red beard, and, like, he looked like this spider. And, like, I was just not into it, But, maybe him change into Gerudo form, him tell you that this is the end, and then, Zelda comes out, sealing power, they save you, and maybe they even take you back to the fucking chamber. Like, maybe it just happens again, like, something like that, to where it makes you fucking think, you know what I mean? Like, but it just didn't do any of that.
Yeah. See, for me, because again, I also...
How would you change that end?
See, how I would change it... Because I do love this game. Again, I beat the entire game.
Like I said,
within
the meat
50
of the
hours
game.
when it first came out. 50 hours, didn't do anything else, beat this game, loved it. If I were to change it, I think it's interesting that they gave everybody a voice, except they took Ganon's voice away. I didn't like that. I think it would have been better if we had a section to where we got to talk to Ganon, or Ganon talked to us.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he is a character in the other games. He has a voice. He's got some evil scheme that he has going on. I think it would have been interesting. And I mean, this is like a beast that's come back and back and back. I think it would have been interesting for just a little while for him to like explain his reasoning, maybe even kind of go more into, like we meet again or something, or maybe have a different form to where we can kind of hear his side of the story a little bit, and kind of just be like, no, kind of talk back to Skyward Sword and be like, this is inevitable. We will do this over and over again
exactly.
until
like
I finally
I said,
win.
Such a powerful ending for Skyward Sword.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
They could have done something more like that, and of course, Link wouldn't have spoke or anything, but it would have been whenever Ganon is talking down to Link at the end there, and he's like, I'm gonna beat you, and you see Link going like, no, I'm not gonna back down. Like, I have the Triforce of Courage here. Like, that's what I was missing. And it's just kind of like, really, like, you have Zelda talking, you have these other characters actually having voice acting and talking about their side of the story, and then you get to the end and it's just a fight with an enemy that just wants to destroy you, has no other motivation or
you
anything.
Wanted Ganon, and you got Batman vs Superman Doomsday.
Yeah, kind of.
Like, that's kind of really what it was, Yeah. Like I said, I really like the second boss fight change, like when he changes into his second form. I thought that was very cool, very awesome to do that.
Plus that fight was it was interesting. I mean, you've been going around on your horse in the field anyway, so now they're like, all right, well, let's
put you in a boss fight, and like I said, the meat of the game is probably, like, I can probably say that it's the best game I've ever played. Like, I really love this game, and that's why it does take Game of the Year for me. It is just so weird though to say that it just has such a lackluster ending, but that's how good the game is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a testament to still why it won perfect 10s and why it's still getting all these things.
Yeah.
And when you are talking back to the Blights and stuff, I thought they were fine. I beat them without really thinking too much of it.
It was rewarding to beat them.
Yeah, but when you do think about some of the bosses you got to fight in Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and all these, you really fought cool bosses. These giant like fish, this giant fucking lizard. Like you fought cool things, and yeah, you're right. In this game, that was kind of lacking. So, but it is weird. It's something I didn't put too much thought of until I had a good amount of time away from the game, and that's when I stopped, and I was like, I guess this could have been better. I guess this could have been better. Like, I feel like it'll be really hard to go back to like Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Ocarina of Time because the gameplay won't be this. But
you
at the
put it
same
on
time,
Switch.
I still
I'm
think
sold.
I will. Exactly.
You put Wind Waker on Switch. God,
yeah,
you
like
don't even know.
I'll still play them, and that's weird, and that's just because those stories are so great, those boss fights are so great, those puzzles are so great.
At the same time, now they're different games, though. You know what I
They
mean?
really
like,
are.
like you may say that like it's a downgrade or maybe it's not the same, but I think the fact that they're so different, I think it'll still hold up just as good as you think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it is an open world. That's not what it was about. This is what it's about, and that's why it succeeds.
Yep, but with a little better of a story, a little better of an ending, and some better bosses. I don't think I would go back to those original games,
and that makes sense. And like I said, I really do like the story. I like the characters, even though it's the backstory. Like, I loved finding out how everything happened. I loved seeing Zelda and Link's relationship flourish and start from nothing to her not liking you to her understanding you, and they even give you a really good nod at why Link doesn't even speak, and it's in the Zelda diaries,
that's what's
and
so
I
funny.
think that's very, very cool.
But that's what's so funny is that's the best part of the story isn't even in the story; it's in a diary. That just goes to speak about and I mean it's the same with the memories. Like if you didn't want to go and find all these memories, which honestly
it's
some
definitely
kind of
super
be hard.
lacking.
Yeah, then exactly. So I mean. They definitely give you story if you look into it, and I think that's kind of what they took out from like Skyrim and even like maybe like BioShock and games like that. Like you get more out of it when you're looking for a story, and that's awesome and everything. And I mean I like how games do that, but at the same time, those games' original stories were still good. Whereas you're right. There is no story if you're not looking for it in this game, and so there's a lot of stuff that. I do wish they could have done a little better, but again, when it comes down to it,
it's amazing.
I put 50 hours into this game in a week. Like,
So
I
like I said,
the
I
gameplay,
still
have so much to do.
We judge games by gameplay.
Yeah,
some of the best movies that I've ever seen don't always have the best endings.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and that just happens. But as a gameplay standard, this is game of the year for me. Like what I did. Everything, even if it didn't super fucking reward me, at the end, it was still so worth it.
Yep.
Lionels were fucking amazing to beat. Big bosses were fucking amazing. Rare items were fucking fun to find.
Yep.
Searching the land, finding shrines, all of that was so great. Like, it takes the cake. Now let's get into your game, Persona 5. What are some of your opening thoughts on Persona 5? How long are you into it right now?
I am currently at 63
hours.
hours into it, and I've been playing at launch pretty much exclusively. I mean, I play a little bit of Zelda still, of course, a little bit of Mario Kart here and there, and then I think I've played, Birth by Sleep, Kingdom Hearts maybe twice, like before I go to work, because Persona 5's not a game you like, I got, 30 minutes, let me try it. No.
Yeah.
So I've played a good amount. That's all I'm playing, and I am just in love with this game. If you haven't played a Persona game, it's just the pinnacle of JRPGs right now. And also, if you're looking for just like a palate cleanser, something different,
something new,
something a little different. You're tired of all these shooters that are coming out, all these open world games, and you just want to play a JRPG. You like anime, and you just kind of want to play a big game that'll take some time. This is the game, because it is not just a normal turn-based battle system. It is that is in it, but that's not why you play this game. You play this game for the
story,
the story,
you care
for,
about the characters.
For the characters, it's basically a high school / romance simulator.
Yep.
And that's the best part of the game. So you play as a group of kids. You have personas. You go into this metaverse, and in this
personas
game
you mean as like a like a power that you fight with when you're in another world. Pretty much.
It's basically like a Pokemon, like, I mean, it's another monster that you have that you do kind of collect. You do change. They're weak to this element, but they're strong at this element. They're resistant to this element. You have these different moves that they have. You're able to buff up. I mean, it is just a turn-based RPG in that sense, but then you want to go and you want to level up your relationships with your friends, because that will in turn make these certain personas stronger when you create them. And then you also want to go and you want to read these books to increase your charm, so you can go and you can hit on the girl that's over in the church playing this game, and you can't talk to her because you don't have enough charm. And then when you want to start leveling that,
and maybe you never had enough charm and you never talked to her.
Yeah, maybe
you had courage, and then you talked to the asshole chick that was kind of like you needed more courage to talk to her. You know what I mean? Like, things like that. Like, everybody has such a different experience, just like Zelda. Now another great thing is that Persona 5 does is maybe you're not finding great items. Maybe you're not fighting the biggest bosses all the time, except when you're done with the palace, you know?
Yeah, those bosses are hard.
But the story is the most rewarding fact. Like, as we were saying, Zelda, you find stuff and it's rewarding. Defeating people rewarding. But finding out the next thing, and also the real-time aspect of Persona. You know what I mean? You're living a calendar life, day by day by day. And sometimes you'll have to do something by a certain date to, like, maybe a book won't be available. You know what I mean? Like the library, if you actually want to be able to read all the books in the library that it has to offer you, you have to get the first book in the first month, or you'll never get that book. Like those small things, like it's so cool that they do that. And it kind of has like that Animal Crossing effect to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where Animal Crossing is kind of like an infinite thing. Like you could still be playing Animal Crossing right now if you want to.
True.
But this is set within a year. Yeah. You have a time frame to get as good as you can, build your friendships and relationships as good as you can,
or don't,
don't.
You
could choose not to.
And the amount of time that you can actually put into that time management system is astounding. For example, I just had some of the most free time I've ever had in the game. I had. The palaces are places you go into to try to change people's hearts. Generally bad, a little story information. Yeah, and then you have like 20 some days to beat it. You could do it in whenever. The last one I did, I went in there on the first day. I was good enough that I got to. You have to do something special once you get to the end of a palace. I got to that within the first day without having to leave the palace, which kind of was a big deal. And I had 20 free days to do whatever I wanted, and I spent more than half of those days going and working at a flower shop so I can increase my kindness, so I can finally go and talk to the girl that I'm going to be fucking dating by the end of this game. And I couldn't even talk to her because my kindness wasn't high enough. So I spent like 15 days, day and night, working at a flower shop to increase my kindness.
That's fantastic. And if you don't know, Persona, what it is you're living real life, having real relationships, going to school. In Tokyo. And the other half is like you battling and solving a crime in an alternate reality. Yeah. That's pretty much the gist of it, as simple as I could probably explain it. So, what is my favorite aspect? I want to ask what your favorite aspect is, but mine is the style. This game is fucking stylish. Yeah. Like, this is the most stylish game I've ever seen in my whole life.
Every little thing about it.
Like, the sprinkle meme? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the style that this has sprinkle meme style just all everywhere. Over. Everything about it. Yeah. It looks so great.
Beating an enemy. Whenever you start a new palace and you have these 21 days, somewhere in the room you're standing in, it says mission start, just out of nowhere, whether it's on the floor or if it starts in the classroom, you just see mission start
on the chalkboard.
When you beat an enemy and you're just kind of running around, it's got your little stats being like boom.
It's like kind of like a graffiti type of art style, mixed with the anime. Mm-hmm. The menus are fantastic. Every single
the music.
Yeah, you have like a menu that looks really great, and then every time you click on something, it has a different animation. You know what I mean? Yeah. For each sub menu. Mm-hmm. And wow, they just put so much time into it, and they weren't scared to do the JRPG. They weren't scared to do anything. Yeah. They said, this is what we want to make, unlike Final Fantasy, you know what I mean? I think Final Fantasy and Square Enix, the problem with that is that it's a company that was so big at one point, they have a lot of declining in them. You know what I mean? That whenever Square Enix declines in anything, it's really rough for them. To where I think Atlas has more of their expectations in check.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Square Enix is trying to hit that, you know, that AAA, that super, what can we sell the most of, you know, to where Atlas is more like, hey, we know that this may not fucking, you know, shatter the earth, but we're going to put out the best fucking game we can, and we're going to put out the time, you know what I mean? I mean, Persona 4 came out on PS2.
True.
You know, and now Persona 5 is coming out on PS4. Yeah. And you know that they've been writing this story since then. You know it.
Yeah. And they have to be. But going back to what you're saying right before that,
the art style.
It was right after the art style. I can't think of it, but no, just everything about this game is just fantastic. The art, the battling. I personally, when you were talking about the battling system getting a little repetitive earlier and everything, I think it actually does. I wouldn't say this turn-based is nearly as good as like Final Fantasy, you know, 10's turn-based or anything. It is kind of, it's much easier. Like facing normal enemies, it just kind of gets repetitive because, especially if you know what their weakness is, it's so easy to just be like, all right, I'm going to use Thunder on this guy, and then I'm going to attack with these guys, and then do an all-out attack.
And you're like, give me an item.
Yeah, and exactly. Yeah. So that part's not really the big part of the game. If anything, fighting a new enemy where you're like, let me figure out what he's weak against, that part's kind of cool. But what it really becomes is more of like an SP management kind of thing. You're like, I just need to be able to defeat these guys easily and quickly enough, but keep all my characters having enough SP, because as soon as I run out of SP, I can't use my magic abilities to take him out easier.
So then you're trying to figure out, it's like you kind of figure out too, you're like, okay, do I use my gun? Like flying enemies, their weakness is a gun a lot. And then you find the smaller enemies to where you're like, I don't need money, I don't need their persona, and I don't need an item. I'm just going to go all out attack on these guys just to even conserve my SP, you know what I mean?
Exactly, which might take a little longer.
A little bit longer.
I'm not going to knock them down maybe because they're not vulnerable to physical attacks.
Yeah.
So they might do some damage on me, which isn't too bad. But then it's like, do I have enough items to heal myself? Or do I have to use my magic to heal myself?
Which in retrospect, then you're using your SP anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, so I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just a management
game. And that's what's cool about the game. And I think that's what that might be sometimes like what turns people off on it, I guess, too, is because it's a management game, and you have to try to really think about it, which is something I like. You know what I mean? Turn-based games are usually about strategy. You know what I mean? It's nothing super crazy. Yeah. But you know, it's not about defeating this guy. Yeah. It's about trying to defeat all these guys, and me have enough items, enough health, and get to the end,
get to the boss,
or just leave for that day. Like, let me at least get to my next checkpoint room so I can leave and then, you know, go heal and, you know, do all of that.
Which is awesome, and it's nice that you can do that.
Because in 4 you couldn't. You could just leave the dungeon, kind of.
You could leave the dungeon, but it was definitely it wasn't as easy,
and you couldn't.
I don't think you could teleport.
Jump floors.
Yeah, you'd have to kind of run through it all again. So in this one they encourage you to leave if you have to, which is why when you do beat a dungeon or when you do get to the very end of a dungeon without having to leave and lose a day, it's so exhilarating. And then your confidence, like not only do your friends and stuff help your in-game stuff, but you eventually find confidence that there's one confident that lets you switch out team members while you're in the middle of a battle. So you could be in the middle of a battle. You're just like, man, Ryoji is getting destroyed by these wind attacks. Let me get him out of here and let me put in Morgana, who has wind and is going to be resistant to that. And you can do that mid-game. There's also other confidence that let you slack off, like during class. Like your teacher will kind of look the other way, and you can use your time to read a book, to make infiltration stuff.
And that's something else that Persona does really good, is that it lets the game evolve, you know, at 60 hours, at 50 hours. Yeah. It's bringing you new mechanics to where you're not just doing the same thing, you know, because, I mean, granted, to where I think Zelda's great and it's so limitless, you know, at the same time, you're kind of doing the same thing, you know, all the time you're exploring, you're fighting, you know, and nothing really changed. Like, you can do everything at the beginning of the game that you can do at the end of the game.
Yeah,
you know
they
what I
give
mean?
you access to everything right
you know.
away.
So that's kind of the difference, and that's what I really like about Persona. And they even did that with Persona 4, obviously not as well, you know, but the story really changed, and Persona 5, I'm so excited to dive into it more because I just know that this game will reward me so good at the end. Maybe, like you said, maybe the combat will get a little bit stale, you know, things like that. Maybe the gameplay will
just a little bit
slightly repetitive.
Yeah, until you get to like bosses and stuff.
But the end will be so rewarding. And same thing with Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, both these games, you know, the end, you know, will probably be so much better than Zelda's ending. And I just kind of already know that, you know what I mean?
Horizons was a twist, and Personas, I feel like, is going to be just comfort. Like, especially like with what's going on right now. It's getting rocky. You're just like, oh, what's going to happen? And I can already tell there's probably going to be situations where you are going to be playing it, and you are going to find out a story thing, and you're going to text me and be like, what the fuck?
And like, and it's going to be even hard for me too, because you know, Horizon Zero Dawn, Zelda, Persona 5, I feel like all of these probably take the cake in gameplay when compared to Final Fantasy 15. But Final Fantasy 15, even though it's not this year, not a contender, but the ending is everything I've ever wanted in an ending, right?
The
like
music
the 15 ending was so fantastic. Like I could not, like, if you would say how would you change the ending, like, I don't even know. Like, it was perfect. Like, it was everything a Final Fantasy fan wanted. You saw Shiva fucking, you know, killing Ifrit. You know, you saw all this stuff, and it's so colossal. They did such a great job.
See, in that game, I would change gameplay stuff.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's funny.
Exactly.
Like, I wouldn't change gameplay in any three of these games that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't see the point. But in Final Fantasy, I would change a lot.
You would change
the
gameplay, but you wouldn't change that ending, and you wouldn't change maybe a whole lot in the story either. Like,
not really.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like small things, You know what I mean? That chapter 13, I see how people didn't like it,
which is funny because I didn't know about that. For some reason, I played the game without knowing that was like a big deal, and I didn't find it too bad. Like, now thinking about it, it's like, oh, I guess it was kind of weird. And it kind of changed the game up a little bit. And it's funny how it was on the 13th chapter. Fuck you, Final Fantasy 13. But I personally didn't notice it, so I don't think it was too big of a deal. But they went and basically added an alternative now to where
the story
you
could have also been longer
character.
Too.
Absolutely. And they could have given you a little bit more story during some of the middle part, like the beginning parts of the game. And at times it was a little like confusing and stuff like that, but I mean that's just Final Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, for a Final Fantasy fan, man, like that ending. Yeah. Like I said, all these endings will definitely, like, obviously Zelda, no competition, but the endings to these games, Persona, Horizon, like it's gonna be hard to beat that Final Fantasy 15 ending. You know, it's gonna be hard. Like you already know how Horizon Zero Dawn ends. Which and you say it's a great
good
twist, you know what I mean? So that's nice.
It was a good twist,
and
good
ending,
but...
and also Final Fantasy 15 like is something that I've really liked for my whole life, you know. So seeing all that play out, I think it was a huge role to where, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn's new, so it's gonna be like watching a new movie and seeing that twist at the end, like Sixth Sense. You know, you find out, you know, spoiler, Bruce Willis is dead. If you didn't know that, like, what the fuck's the matter with you? But you know what I mean? Things like that. So. Now, do you have anything else to say on Persona 5?
Not too much.
If you're an anime fan, get it. Like, there's
exactly.
no reason. If you play games and you watch anime, like, this is your fucking tea.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
100%. You know, it just even has like awesome anime cutscenes.
Oh god,
they're not in there often when they're actual anime ones. Yeah, but like you can just tell
more than Persona 4.
Yeah, they paid somebody you know good money to actually go and do good animations just to throw into this game. So if you like that, if you want something different, or if you want something that you can just sink your teeth into and get a lot of gameplay out of, play Persona 5, because we're not going to get another Persona for like 5
who knows
years.
5 years. No, like an actual like Persona 6 we probably won't see for like 12 years, I think.
That's ridiculous.
It's going to be crazy. All right, now the rest of 2017, we'll just kind of go over this real quick just so everybody knows kind of what to expect.
What to look forward
really
to.
I feel like there's only one real game on here that can really take the cake of game of the year. which I'm going to go out and say right now, Red Dead Redemption 2. I feel like that game really has the chops and has the possibility if it comes out this year. You know, supposedly it is. That's what they said, and I'm sure they've been working on this game since fucking the DLC of Red Dead, you know, like the zombie DLC. But other games that we have, Destiny 2, you're super hopeful for that. I am also hopeful for it. I hope it does great. We'll have to see what happens. You said that there might be pets, which is
some weird rumor I just saw yesterday.
Rumor, yeah. So who knows?
We'll find out more on the 18th.
Yeah, May 18th. So we're really excited about that. Call of Duty World War II, to where I don't think maybe Game of the Year stuff. It's gonna bring Call of Duty back, kind of like the Resident Evil 7.
Give me a reason to play.
Yeah,
it
exactly. Battlefront 2, I think, is going to be the Battlefront that everybody wanted from the first one. You know what I mean? I think this game is going to be really great. It's going to be something that I definitely am going to end up playing longer, because I played a lot of Battlefront at the beginning, but then it was like that real steep drop off to where like you never played it again.
There was just no reason. There was not enough
to keep playing
to keep you interested.
Exactly.
And plus, there's a single player in this one, which sounds interesting.
Yeah.
You get to play
awesome.
as
Fantastic.
an Imperial. I don't exactly know what she is, but you get to play as a bad guy on her perspective on you aren't the bad guy.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I can't wait to.
Yeah, you got Darth Maul, you got Rey, you know, everything. It looks fantastic. Spider-Man, if it comes out this year,
it does.
probably not, I'd say. I wish it would, so they could start working on Ratchet and Clank 2, which was like my game of the year last year. But I think Spider-Man, I mean, if it did come out, like, yeah, that is a game of the year contender. Like, if they do it right, that is straight up a game of the year contender, like, without a doubt. You know, honestly,
and it's hard to do Spider-Man wrong. Like,
exactly,
Spider-Man is such an easy
game
to do.
Even the worst games of Spider-Man, they're still awesome.
They're
to
still
play.
great.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that character's great. Those abilities are perfect for a video game.
Yeah. Nintendo has a couple games coming out. ARMS Splatoon. Splatoon, you know, is the second one. There's not a whole lot to it.
It's
that's
not
new.
exactly. It's
you know?
more like a 1.5.
Yeah. ARMS is pretty much their spiritual predecessor to Punch Out. I think you know what I mean. Yeah. Exactly. Successor to Punch Out. And I'm really excited for it. I think it's going to be a great new IP for Nintendo, and I think it will sell a lot. Then we have the big heavy hitter, Mario Odyssey. You know, which everybody's really waiting for, and supposedly the rumors is this is done, and they're just like trying to do this right. I think they're doing it great with doing ARMS and Splatoon in June and July when there's no other real good games coming out. I think that's really smart.
That is good.
If you count Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a May release, since it came out April 28th, you have a game in May, you have a game in June, you have a game in July. While no other games are coming out. Like, Nintendo may have done it really right. So, and then we have Need for Speed, which might be coming out this year.
Which I would like to play. Another one I didn't put on here, we mentioned earlier, hopefully Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
hopefully
Assassin's
that's a good
Creed.
Game.
I would love to be in Egypt. Some fucking Cairo. That'd be badass.
Yeah.
So, I hope all of these rest of the games for 2017 really produce. I really hope that Red Dead 2 comes out. And like I said, if it does, I mean, that might take the cake. We don't know. Red Dead 1 Red Dead Redemption, I guess, was fantastic. I mean, fuck.
Stay tuned for our E3 podcast coming up in June where we'll find out what we're playing at the end of the year.
I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. That was a great cast. We hope to see you back next time. If you haven't checked us out, check us out on YouTube. Check us out on social media at GBW Podcast or on Facebook, facebook.com/Fandom Talk. We appreciate you. Go and subscribe if you haven't yet. If you're a first-time listener, we just appreciate you checking us out, right, Steven?
Yeah. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Like what you hear? Subscribe now and feel free to drop us a rate and review. Stay current with all things Geeks Between Worlds.